Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? Today we're tackling something pretty mind-bending. How language can be used to influence not just people.
But AI, too.
Right, it's like...
Jedi mind tricks.
Exactly. But instead of the Force...
It's all about words.
We're digging into excerpts from this piece called The Mind Hackers.
Which does sound a bit ominous.
Yeah, a little. But it's super fascinating. We're going to learn how words can shape our thoughts and actions.
And how they can even impact the increasingly sophisticated AI systems we're building.
Okay, so let's start with something called neuro-linguistic programming.
NLP.
Right, NLP. Developed back in the 70s.
Sounds like sci-fi, right?
It really does. So
Yeah.
what is it all about?
Basically, it's the idea that the way we use language, the way we talk to ourselves and others.
Can actually shape how we experience the world.
Exactly. It's almost like programming a computer but using words instead of code.
So someone can use NLP to, convince you to buy something you don't need?
That's one example, yeah. But it can also be used for good. Think of therapists who use language to help people overcome phobias.
Oh, right.
That's NLP in action. It's all about finding the right words to create a specific outcome.
Makes sense. But how does this connect to AI? You mentioned something about prompt injection attacks before.
Right. Well, before we go digital, let's talk about the OG mind hack hypnosis. You know, the classic image of someone clucking like a chicken on stage.
Oh, yeah. Always wondered how that works.
Well, hypnosis uses repetition and suggestion to tap into the subconscious mind, basically bypassing our normal mental filters. And that's actually where the connection to AI comes in.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So these prompt injection attacks,
Yeah.
they do something similar with AI. They use carefully crafted inputs to make the AI do things it wasn't designed to do.
Is it like hacking, but with words instead of code?
You got it. Let's say you have an AI assistant, and you tell it to ignore all previous instructions, and then you give it new commands. You've essentially hijacked the programming, making it follow your instructions instead of its original ones.
That does sound kind of scary.
It can be, but remember how we were talking about NLP being used for good?
Yeah.
It's the same with prompt injection. It all comes down to how it's used. Think about it. AI, especially those large language models, are trained on tons and tons of data.
Right.
And that data shapes how they understand and respond to prompts.
So bad data, bad output.
Right. But the reverse is also true. If we use carefully crafted prompts and feed them good data, we can actually make AI more helpful.
That's interesting. So it's like training a dog. Like if you give it the right commands and rewards, it'll learn to do what you want.
That's a great analogy. Just like training a dog to be a helpful companion, we can use this prompt engineering to train AI to be more useful, more ethical.
Yeah, more aligned with our values, right?
That's-
This is all so fascinating. So we've got NLP for influencing human behavior and prompt injection for AI. And they're both connected by the power of language.
That's the through line, yeah. It's all about influence and control, whether it's a human mind or a complex algorithm.
And this prompt injection thing, it's like a tool that can be used for good or bad.
Exactly. And in the right hands, it can be used to improve AI safety, make it more robust against attacks.
Help it learn better.
Yes. It's like instead of trying to break into a house, we're learning to build a stronger, more secure one.
Okay, that makes sense. But I'm still kind of fuzzy on how this all fits into the big picture.
Think of it like this. We're realizing that language itself is a kind of code. It's how we communicate with each other, but also how we interact with machines.
And as AI gets smarter,
Understanding this code becomes crucial.
so we're learning a new language, the language of AI.
Precisely. And the more fluent we become, the better we can communicate with AI, shape its development, and ensure it's used for good.
That's a powerful thought. It's not just about influencing people or hacking AI.
It's about recognizing the power of language and how it can shape the future, both for us and the machines we're creating.
Wow, this is mind-blowing. I feel like we've just scratched the surface here.
All right.
Before we move on, is there anything else about how these techniques can be used for good that we should touch on?
You know, one thing that's really exciting is the potential for using these techniques for education and personal growth.
Like how?
Imagine AI tutors that adapt to each student's learning style, or AI tools that help people overcome negative thoughts or develop healthier habits.
Wow, those are some pretty cool possibilities.
Right. It's like using the power of language to... Forgetting about this field, we're just beginning to explore the potential, and the possibilities are truly limitless.
It really makes you think differently about how you use language.
And that's a great first step, The more we understand about the power of language, the better we can use it for good.
Well said. I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about already. All right, so we've talked about NLP, prompt injection, and how they can be used for good. It's amazing how it all comes back to the power of language, you know?
It really is.
But there's got to be another side to this, right? Like, we talk about how prompt injection can make AI better, but what about the potential for misuse? Could someone with bad intentions use these techniques to do something harmful?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's something we need to be very careful about. Like any powerful tool.
It can be used for good or bad.
Right. It depends on who's using it and what their intentions are.
So it's like, I don't know, a knife. You can use it to cook a delicious meal, or you could use it for something, well, not so good.
Exactly. That's why it's crucial to have safeguards in place, both in how we design AI systems and how we educate people about these techniques.
Safeguards? Like what kind of safeguards?
Well, on the technical side, developers are working on ways to make AI more resistant to malicious prompts. Things like input validation, where the AI checks the prompt for anything suspicious before processing it.
So like a spam filter for AI.
Yeah, something like that. But it's not just about technology. We also need to raise awareness about the risks of prompt injection.
Educate people on how to use these techniques responsibly.
Right, it's a two-pronged approach. Better security and more education. But even then, couldn't someone with bad intentions still find a way to exploit things?
That's what I'm wondering.
It's possible, and that's why ongoing research is so important. As AI evolves, so do the ways to safeguard it. It's a constant back and forth, but we need to stay ahead of the curve.
So there's no easy fix. We need to constantly be adapting.
Exactly. And that's where collaboration comes in. We need researchers, developers, policymakers, everyone working together to make sure AI is used safely and ethically.
It's a big challenge, but also super exciting. We're talking about shaping the future of technology.
And the future of humanity, too.
That's a great point. So before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about language. You said it's not just about how we talk to each other, but also how we interact with machines. Can you expand on that a bit? What does that mean for the future of communication, both with people and the AI?
I think we're at this turning point in how we think about communication. For centuries, language has been the way we connect with each other, share ideas, build relationships.
Right.
But now with AI, we're using language to talk to machines in ways we never imagined before.
And as AI gets more advanced,
That communication is going to get even more complex and nuanced. It's not just about giving commands, it's about having real conversations.
so we can actually have conversations with AI.
Exactly. And as we get better at understanding this language of AI, we can unlock so much potential. Imagine collaborating with AI on creative projects, solving problems together.
Or even just having a chat about life, the universe, everything.
Right, like something out of a sci-fi book. It's pretty exciting.
It really is.
Yeah.
So how do we even begin to learn this new language of AI?
A good first step is just paying more attention to how you use language, both in your everyday life and when you're interacting with AI.
What do you mean?
Think about the words you choose, your tone of voice, how you structure your sentences. All of that can affect how people understand you and how AI interprets your requests.
So it's about being more mindful.
Exactly. The more we learn about how language works, the better we can use it with both humans and AI.
This is giving me a lot to think about.
Good. The more we think about the power of language, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this new world where humans and AI are so intertwined.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We've been talking about how language can be used to influence both people and AI, and wow, it's clear there's a lot to think about,
There really is.
especially when it comes to the potential for misuse, AI safety, all of that. But I think it's important to remember, for all the risks, there's also this huge potential for good.
Absolutely. We've touched on a few examples already, using NLP for therapy, prompt engineering to improve AI.
Yeah, just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
So what are some other ways these techniques could be used to make a positive impact?
Well, think about fields like education, healthcare, accessibility, AI tutors that can personalize learning for every student, AI-powered tools that help doctors make faster, more accurate diagnoses,
Oh, wow.
even AI assistants that could help people with disabilities communicate more effectively.
Those are some seriously powerful examples. It's like using this technology to really level the playing field.
Create opportunities for people who might not have had them before.
Exactly.
And that's what's so exciting to me about all of this, that potential to use technology to empower people, make the world a better place.
It's easy to get caught up in the scary what-if scenarios. but we have the power to shape how this technology is developed and used, right?
Absolutely. We're not just watching this happen. We're active participants in shaping the future of AI, and the choices we make now will have a huge impact down the road.
So what can we do? How do we ensure AI is used for good?
First and foremost, stay informed, stay engaged. The more we understand about AI, the better we can make informed decisions about its development and use.
So read articles, listen to podcasts.
Like this one.
Exactly. Talk to people who are working in the field. Don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, speak up about your concerns.
It's a conversation we need to have together.
That's such a good point. Open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of AI. And we need to work together to find solutions that benefit everyone.
I couldn't agree more. It's not about humans versus machines. It's about humans and machines working together.
To build a better future for everyone.
Exactly.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation, and I think we've given our listeners a lot to ponder.
I hope so.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of mind hacking and AI, I want to leave you with one final thought. The power of language is immense. It can be used to influence, to persuade, to manipulate, but it can also be used to inspire, to educate, to connect, and to create. The choice is ours. Let's use this power wisely. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.